What do my teachers think about my retirement? Let's talk about what my teachers think about my retirement, because actually I don't know. I can only talk about what some of them have said to me and what I think from actions and what I've heard from other people. So what my teachers actually think, I probably should ask them, but I'm just going to go off a few things that we've talked about. When I submit my retirement letter, or what happened after I submit my retirement letter, on the night of the board approving my retirement, an email goes out to all the admin in the district, and it shows who has resigned, retired, been hired, been fired, and it only goes to admin staff. So the admin all knew that I was retiring, and that was the night before I told my teachers. So that morning I sent out a scheduled email to announce that I was retiring because I had to be at central office for a meeting first thing in the morning, so I wasn't even going to be here in order to tell them or see them that morning. I wanted to do something special for them. So I sent the email and then I wasn't here. I don't recommend that. That wasn't what my plan originally was. I wanted to be here that morning and do like a surprise treat for them just to soften the blow just a little bit, but I wasn't able to be here. So the next day I planned to have donuts and a celebration, and I don't have time right now to do like clip art and bulletin boards and fonts and cut stuff out. So I ordered a retirement packet off of Etsy, and I'll put a link in the comments below to the link to the retirement packet that I bought. But it just had pre-made signs, and I have bulletin board and border. I have enough bulletin board and border left over the last 19 years to last somebody for eternity. I'm sure they're probably going to throw all that stuff away when I leave, but there's plenty of that. Then I sent a text message. I used Remind and sent a text message and said there would be donuts and a treat in the morning to celebrate my retirement. That's kind of how it went down as far as the teachers go. Now, from my understanding, there were some teachers that were upset, but keep in mind, 19 years with something, I mean, that lasted longer than my marriage. So I've been with a lot of these people for a very long time. They're like legit family to me. Some of them might feel the same way about me as I feel about them. Some of them may not care, and work is just work. But it is hard, I think, when someone has been in a position for 19 years, and some of the staff have been here the entire time. I wish I would have counted, but I'm not really sure how many that is. Therefore, there were mixed emotions with the announcement. I believe some of them thought I wasn't going to do it. I had to change my angle a little bit because my light died, the light that I had to light this area of my room. But anyway, I think some of them thought that I really wasn't going to do it, that I wasn't going to retire. So I wrote down, I think, 6 things that might be fears that they're having. Some of the things that they've said to me that are fears that I keep in mind, and I'm trying to coach them through or talk them through as we work through this. We have 6 more months that we can work through some of these fears, but I wrote them down. So here's a couple. First of all, will the person that follows me be a micromanager? I am not a micromanager. I expect you to do your job and do it well, and I'm not going to micromanage it. I do check lesson plans, I do check schedules, I do follow up on things, I have a calendar, I have lists. I hold people accountable, or there is some accountability in place. However, I don't consider that micromanaging, so I think there's a little bit of fear of that. Another one is I try to balance the cadence of meetings. We are supposed to have Monday early out meetings and Tuesday grade level meetings. Monday early out are supposed to be the whole staff. However, it doesn't ever fall that way. I don't make people come to a meeting that it doesn't apply to. Every staff member has plenty to do. Grade level classroom teachers have more responsibility and more things to do. They have to be at more meetings. Tuesdays are just grade level meetings where every 50 minutes during their special class time, I meet with each grade level with my instructional coach, and we have a calendar of every Monday and every Tuesday and what we're going to meet on. But I don't meet just to meet. If there isn't something on those days that we need to meet about, I'm not going to meet on those days about anything at all. So here's an example. Thanksgiving is coming up. We only go to school on Monday and Tuesday. I want them to be able to enjoy their Thanksgiving. I'm not going to have a Monday meeting. I'm not going to have a Tuesday grade level meeting. They need to use that time to be prepared so that when they come back from their Thanksgiving, they're ready. Use Monday early out, use Tuesday grade level meetings to get your lesson plans and supplies ready for when you come back from Thanksgiving so you can just have a nice Thanksgiving. So they're worried, will the next person balance meetings? And I will share this information. I will share all of my documents with the next person. So if they're wondering how things went, which they may not even care, they may not have time to check to see how things went. They may just have to work at their own cadence. But I think they're worried about the amount of meetings just to have meetings. I speak my mind. I think it's a blessing and a curse. I need to do better with my language of how I speak my mind, but I'm just going to tell you. And I'm going to tell you what I think. I'm going to tell my supervisors what I think, but I've been here for 19 years and I have relationships with these people. So I speak my mind and share, is this a good idea? Is this a bad idea? And then it's filtered through me. Communication from district office is filtered through building principals. So how do I present this information to my teachers in a way that I know that they will receive it well and in the way that I know them? And there's a balance of that. And everything you get from central office, if it's all shared immediately at the same time, a lot of things can be missed. So I try to filter that out. So I speak my mind. We have to agree to disagree. I speak my mind to my staff. I speak my mind to everybody. It just is the way I am. Will this person be able to have a backbone and speak their mind and share their opinions? Maybe not. Their first year, they may not want to do that. They may want to just do as they're told as a supervisor, and you have to allow that for somebody. I over communicate, and I'm going to do a podcast on my podcast channel about how I communicate with my staff, the basics of communication, and then I might do a more in-depth podcast about what that means and explain a little bit more behind the scenes. Like I'll tell you how do I do it, the how to, then the purpose and the why behind my communication in another one, or it may be all of the same podcast. So I over communicate. I feel like if you don't tell them, they're going to make it up. So I tell them everything. During COVID, we all got away from talking to anybody because you never knew when the story or the disease or the guidelines or restrictions were going to change. So it was better not to say anything. And it's taken me a while to get back into tell everybody everything. Give them all the information that you have that they need in order for them to be successful so they don't make up stories in their mind that don't fit the scenario. Hoop jumping. I tell teachers what's hoop jumping and what is a non-negotiable. I used the term non-negotiable on I think it was my website or my Facebook page, and people are like, we're not allowed to use the term non-negotiable at our school because, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm sorry, there are things in your job and your profession that are not negotiable. Like you have to have lesson plans. Anyway, there are things that are hoop jumping and that are non-negotiables. Some examples, the Commissioner of Education was in my building years ago. She personally asked me to my face, what do you think about student learning objectives? Do you think that that's hoop jumping or do you think that that's beneficial? And I said, well, I think it's hoop jumping because most teachers have student learning objectives and know what they want from their kids from the beginning. I think putting these things in place sometimes are for the bad teachers, and we sometimes focus on the bad teachers and not the good teachers. And we need to not put things in place that are hoop jumping, that, oh, let's set student learning objectives because these 5 teachers in a building of 30 might not know how to do that. Well, deal with those people. So anyway, I tell my teachers, here, you have to do this because it's a requirement of the state, or you have to do this because it's a requirement of the district. I'm going to check it off. I don't have time to go through 35 portfolios, but I'm going to check it off that you did it. So just do the best that you can. And then another thing, and this may not apply as much now as it used to, but being organized. I pride myself on being organized. I have not prided myself on being organized probably the last 3 years because of COVID and exhaustion and preparing for retirement and knowing that this was coming, I probably haven't been as organized. You can watch previous videos, listen to previous podcasts, and hear all my organizational strategies. And I think that when I retire and I have time to focus back on those, I can share back out those ideas with other principals and other people so they can benefit from the experience that I've had. Again, when it comes down to experience, the teachers are going to be used to somebody who has a lot of experience, and the district may hire somebody with a lot of experience, and I'm going to help that person as much as they would allow. But I also know, and this is kind of tricky, is my last day when I turn my keys in may be the end of relationships that I have other people had invested in. And I know that, and I'm trying to mentally prepare for that. However, you aren't really going to be prepared. I had a really good conversation with a friend of mine that we talked about when this person retired. We talked about how hard it was. You really thought that there were some relationships that you had that it turns out they were just professional relationships, and that's fine. We just have to find a way to make other relationships. So as far as what my teachers think, I don't know. They've expressed some questions and things they're thinking about and things they're hoping that the next person doesn't do or does do, but all I can do is help them through the next few months of this process so that they can help that person be the best leader that they can be. It's just as much on the teachers of the building as it is on the principal in the beginning in order to build up that person's leadership. I was so lucky when I came to this building. They wanted me to be successful. I want the person that follows me to be successful, and I'll do whatever I can to help the teachers help them and to help that person be the best that they can be.